They walked 112 miles into the Karakoram toward a mountain no one had climbed, through avalanches, illness, and loss, until Masherbrum demanded a price far greater than the summit itself.
Hey, glad you're here. Welcome to the Himalayan Journals. Here on this channel, we bring to you real stories from century old field notes. We try to keep it simple and calm here. Think of it as a documented history of the Himalayas from the early 1900s, covering stories of indigenous wisdom, epic expeditions, and groundbreaking science, passed on just as they were recorded. Subscribe, zone out, binge.
On June 7th, the Manchester Himalayan expedition left Skardu in Baltistan and began the long approach to Masherbrum, a mountain rising to 25,660 feet. With 25 ponies, 65 coolies, and 6 high-altitude porters, the party set out on a 112-mile trek into the heart of the Karakoram. By June 11th, they reached Dogani, where the ponies were exchanged for more coolies as swollen rivers and damaged tracks made animal transport impossible. Late snow had forced the route onto cliffs and unstable slopes above the shock, and from there, the march continued into the narrow Hush Valley beneath immense mountain walls. On June 15th, base camp was established at about 13,000 feet at the head of the Masherbrum Glacier. Avalanches thundered daily from the surrounding walls, and from camp, the tangled ice falls of the Sarak Glacier and the long slopes of the dome were clearly visible. Routes were explored through the lower ice falls and loads prepared. Progress was slow and exhausting, and by June 18th, Camp 1 was set up at 15,500 feet. That same day, a sudden meltwater stream threatened to flood base camp, forcing the entire camp and several tons of stores to be moved to higher ground before nightfall. By June 19th, Camp 2 was established at 17,200 feet on the lip of the Sarak Basin, a place surrounded by cliffs and scarred by avalanche debris. The party knew that a New Zealand expedition had lost a camp here in 1955, and caution was constant. Efforts were made toward the dome, but heat, soft snow, and exhaustion repeatedly forced retreats. Illness soon followed. Bob became seriously unwell and had to be evacuated downward with great difficulty through ice falls and storms. On June 24th, he was carried to the jungle at 10,000 feet for recovery. While this was happening below, Jeff, Don, and Gulam established Camp 3 on June 23rd on top of the dome at 21,000 feet. From there, they could see out across the Hush Valley toward Kapalu and distant peaks. Bad weather dominated the following days, limiting movement, but on July 2nd, Camp 4 was marked out at 22,000 feet beneath the southeast face. Higher camps followed as routes were forced through avalanche-littered slopes and unstable snow. By July 9th, Camp 6 was established at 24,000 feet beneath an overhanging Sarak. Bob later rejoined the expedition and climbed strongly back to Camp 3, but tragedy followed. On July 18th, while at Camp 6, Bob suddenly deteriorated and died despite all efforts to help him. Storms trapped the survivors at high camp for days, and only on July 24th was it possible to descend and break the news at Camp 4. Plans were then made to recover Bob's body and, if possible, attempt the summit once more. In early August, the team returned upward with heavy loads, sledge equipment, and rope. The recovery of Bob's body from Camp 6 was slow, dangerous, and exhausting, involving fixed ropes, steep traverses, and worsening weather. By August 12th, The most difficult section was completed, and the body was lowered toward Camp 5 while the mountain was gradually abandoned below. Don and the narrator made one final attempt. On August 15th, they climbed toward the south summit under clear stars, reaching about 25,300 feet. Rotten snow, icy rock, and increasing danger forced them to turn back just short of the top. With frostbite, lost equipment, and no support remaining, the summit was abandoned. The expedition returned to base camp on August 18th after more than 9 weeks on Masherbrum. The mountain had not been climbed, but it had taken its toll, testing endurance, judgment, and friendship at every step.